This is episode 363 of the Gold Squadron podcast. So I'm your host, Will USA again, Hegwood, and tonight I'm joined by Ryan Independence Week Staniszewski.
Let's kick the tires and light the fires.
We have James Ka Adi Cannon Killer Ritter. I don't know what language I was speaking there.
Kiadi Cannon Killer. Out here just making all the Star Wars nerds angry that he's alive in the Acolyte show.
That was his twin brother. I don't know.
Kiadi Dude.
Kiadi Duty. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And tonight we also have Wade Aero Extraordinaire Pichet joining us. Welcome in.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
Before we get into our main topics here, I of course had to thank our largest group of supporters. That's the GSP Patreons on patreon.com/Gold Squadron. You can support us here and our endeavors, get us out to live events, keep our online events running, keep the website going, all that stuff that we need your help with. Speaking of, we are planning on heading out to the Selma Grand Tournaments. Want to give a shout out to the American ones coming up. If you're not familiar, the Lone Star Open in Dallas, Texas is happening July 19th and 20th. That is Friday or Saturday and Sunday. We're unable to attend, but wanted to give them a shout out. They run a great event. You can find tickets and more information at frontlinegaming.org. Again, that's July 19th, the Lone Star Open. The other event that we are able to attend is the Salt Lake Open. That's August 2nd through the 4th out in Salt Lake City, Utah, over at utahwargaming.com. You can sign up for their event, find out more information. Both of these events are going to be grand tournaments, so a bunch of exciting prizes. Top four are getting those exclusive template trays, template holders, one of the two. It's a official event, very rare now. Fewer and fewer are going to be happening. Those grand tournaments, so you got to be able to make time for them. Like I said, you can check out more information at utahwargaming.com or at frontlinegaming.org for those next ones happening. I forget the one after that. I don't know if there's one after Utah, but before Nova. But keep Nova on the radar as well for a grand tournament experience coming up. But yeah, I'm very excited for those. We'll be in attendance again, like I said, in the Salt Lake Open one. Me and James holding it down. That's James's hometown these days, anyways. So should be easy for us to get there and have a successful event. But enough about that. I want to switch over, talk about Wade. Wade, what's been going on with you? It's been a while.
It was what, February? I guess that was wild.
Yeah, it has
time
been.
is really. I don't know what's going on this year compared to last, but time is just not even happening here. It's just tomorrow. Yeah. So for those who don't know me, my name is Wade Pichet. I am a FFG OP or ex FFG OP alumni, for which I mostly worked on. I actually got my job really because of X-Wing, and you know the love I had for that. Going in, it was probably like 2013, 2014, so early days. Yeah, so after I lost the job there, unfortunately in 2020, I started working on some of my own stuff, and I have always had a love for planes, and I kind of came up with my own kind of aerial combat. I call it a tactical card game called Aerodome. In 2022, we launched the first Kickstarter. Now we switched over to GameFound. As I've found, it's just integrates a lot more better and makes it easy for me to communicate with people. As well as, I mean, there's a lot of other like benefits I've been finding too, like having say an add-on page or a late pledge page kind of built in on like Kickstarter At least at the time, my last one, I haven't really checked too much since. But yeah, so we launched this about a week, just under a week ago. And this is Aerodome Rising Horizons Volume 2, which essentially is the first 2 expansions for Aerodome after the core set. It introduces, I think we have 20 pilots planned, as well as about 200 battle cards for you to get and add to your collection of Aerodome already. There's also some other cool surprises and kind of get into that. But yeah, so yeah, 180 plus new battle cards. It's closer to 200. And it introduces a lot of new mechanics and stuff like that too. It's like some small tweaks and stuff, like recover actions and dazed actions for those who have played. It also introduces Psych Predict, when when you put down your initiative cards, the Daredevil player could predict if you're going to be playing a certain card, and if they predict it right, then they essentially get to choose, or they count as having played the same initiative number as your opponent, which is kind of like a fun, I always love to get in your head kind of mechanics of aerial combat games. So, yeah. I think there might be one more slide there.
What's in there?
Yeah,
oh, new fighters.
Like I said, 16 plus new fighter cards. All of them are brand new fighter designs as well. So as you see, this is the Polarium, which is a weird concept that took a long time to figure out. But it's essentially an ice harvesting fighter from the Star Lancers, which is one of the factions.
For those audio listeners only, he's describing a plane with a chainsaw in the front of it.
Right, and 2 clamps to kind of just latch onto like a big old ice chunk, and then just yeah, and that whole faction that we're doing, or that whole squadron for this expansion, are all themed around ice and the freeze mechanic. So look out for them. There might be one more slide actually. Yeah. Oh yeah. So there's 4 new stadiums as well.
What does the frozen mechanic do?
So in Aerodome, you have your 9 cards for initiative. When you play in the range 1 through 9, there's various mechanics to kind of slow that down, so you're not just always playing your 9. But when you have freeze token, like when you're assigned freeze tokens, each freeze token you have is -1 to your initiative. So your 9 is now, an 8 or a 7 or a 6.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not great. It's a very good way for your opponent to kind of slow you down, so then they know that they could kind of like beat you to it, but a certain attack.
Right. If they have you frozen, they've got you dead to rights, so they have their 9 kind of thing.
They can, yeah. You can recover frozen tokens like you can daze tokens just by performing a card recover action or recover keyword. But yeah, and then also like if your initiative is ever 0, then at the end of that phase they're all removed, which is like just a built-in kind of way to kind of rinse them away, because it definitely does suck when you start getting like 3 or 4.
Oh my god, they can stack
imagine.
like that?
Yeah, they can stack up to 6.
Oh, that's terrible. Wow.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I thought my good card at 7 is like, oh, okay, now it's like a 3. Okay.
Yeah, and like my 5, which I know can, put me where I want it to be, so long as I go first. It opens more options for the person dealing the frozen, and it removes options for the person receiving it. So, and yeah, it's a very fun mechanic, and I really like kind of playing with like the buff tokens a lot. So we played with burn a lot in the first one, and we're actually playing a little more with burn tokens, which essentially at the end of each turn could do damage kind of stuff. And we also are playing with so 4 new stadiums is like the last like kind of big reveal, at least in this slideshow, where in which it's a stadium for each of the factions in the game. So we have essentially our World War I faction, which is Ace, which they'll be playing at the Battle of Rose Hill. There's the Star Lancer faction, which are playing at Cooper Stadium, sorry. There is the Skies of Azure for Futoria, which is that battleship there. That's they're just playing essentially over the seas, which they called the Skies of Azure because of various fictional reasons. And then the Arcade Cabinet of Martaga 1979, the last one, which is the one on the right there. So yeah, so that's all 4 factions. Essentially, each of these, when you build your hand, you also build a auxiliary deck. And your auxiliary deck has to have a set of 1 stadium cards, which are one of these 5 sets, 4 here plus the mountains from the core set that you have to choose from, and then you can add 3 more auxiliary cards on top of that. So this kind of like opens up a lot more variety in the auxiliary deck, which I know a lot of people have been asking for because it was just 1 in the core set, and kind of gives not only just like the players from those certain factions, but players for every faction kind of more options for getting like things like turrets. There's a couple in there that I think will surprise people for like maneuverability and stuff like that as well. But yeah, really excited for those. And yeah, I think go ahead and slide down there, Will. Yeah, so we actually launched a week ago. We're at 7,000 right now. And we're still pushing. Marketing hasn't honestly really started too much yet. It got delayed a little bit, but we are working on a lot of stretch goals, which we'll see kind of further down here too. But yeah, so if you want to back and follow, I guess is what that's for. Yeah, so there's 2 expansions in this. There's Techno Quarter, which is the Martaga and the Ace, so the World War One and the video game kind of setting. And then On Frigid Flame, which is your ice pirates essentially, and then your Futoria pilots, which are usually kind of like the burn or sacrifice. Not what would you call it? Not risk for reward, but like self-damaging for benefit kind of mechanics, and stuff like that. And each of these will come with 8 pilots, up to 10 if we unlock all of the pilots in the campaign, as well as 90 battle cards in each one, and then 2 of the stadium sets in each one, plus the fighter tokens and like a little rule sheet. Every pilot will have like a quick build deck as well. And this time, like the core set, it'll come kind of pre-sorted that way. I really should have done on the core set, but I learned that lesson. And yeah. We're, like I said, we're introducing, I guess, so this is an example of the recover and the days mechanic. So the little plus symbol at the bottom of the new mechanics section there. A recover action is essentially if you perform that action, then you can perform a recover action or a recover keyword as well. And the days one is like you can perform that action, but you have to take a days token. And days is kind of like the main way to counterbalance the battle card system. So if you take a days, you're essentially taking 1, 2, or 3 days tokens, depending on what it says, and like now you can't play that card until you remove all those days tokens. The way to remove it is with recover, which can recover, like I said earlier, some other things like freeze and burn, and stuff like that.
So it's no longer tied to just my Initiative 9 card has 2 days on it. Now it's tied to a particular action that you do on a card could cause it 2 days.
So like something I'm actually kind of been, I mean, when you're surrounding yourself with Aerodome as much as I have, you start kind of thinking about a few things a little bit more. And like one of the things I really wanted to do, and like I had some cards I think in the core set that were like, if you perform the rotate action maneuver on this card, gain, recover 1 or whatever. Which a little wordy, like I like adding this because it kind of adds this element of like I don't want to do like a 1 straight, but if I do a 1 straight, I get recover, or like I'm gonna do a really risky maneuver and I don't have a shot afterwards unless if I take this days token, and doing stuff like that. And I want to kind of start incorporating the days and recover mechanic kind of just into that action bar more, because I think that kind of helps players a lot. When they're reading the card, being like, okay, recover first, for the keyword, and then perform your actions, in order. And then at the bottom is where I put the days. And then like in there too, we'd have recover and days actions. So
That's cool.
I've-
Always
yeah,
innovating.
it's definitely been like the most enjoyable part of the, or one of the most enjoyable parts of the entire process is like coming up with like, uh, and like we kind of did this in like a lot of other projects that I worked at, like FFG. It's like don't always play your ace, you know, don't always play your nine. Sometimes you want to play your seven. You know, you don't always go for the shot. Sometimes it's better to set up multiple shots, right? So like
Mhm.
I've been thinking about like, you know, season two will have other keywords and other ideas as well. Like I'm playing around a lot with the idea of introducing, you know, like proficient could also just be technically just a keyword like, or a little icon like this, and no longer a keyword per se. Just kind of have it there so you know it's there and it applies to that shot,
Mhm.
and not the other shots maybe, but stuff like that. Um, yeah,
Awesome. Is there anything else on here? Just a
yeah, you can keep
tutorial
going.
guide.
Like, I mean, this is like new to Aerodome, so this is kind of like an overview of how to play and stuff like that, the different action types. But if you go a little bit more, you can start seeing, yeah, so like, uh, so like, become a team player. So
Oh,
like, one of
teams
the
you were talking about. That's right.
yeah, yeah. So like one of the really cool aspects that we're doing with this is like I really wanted to kind of bring in camaraderie of squadrons and teams. I definitely want to do that. Like that's like the probably the main thing I want to do in Aerodome. Even though it's a solo player game, like there's definitely ways in tournaments that you can make it a team sport. Um, and this is one of the ways that we're working on. So I'm working on essentially, well, those are two teams I created, but I have a tier in which if you back it, we will create a team logo for you as well as a customized OP kit for you to use. But also you kind of be already preset with your group to kind of start playing in some of our ideas that we have for team play and organize or in our when we start doing large scale events. Um, but yeah, because like
Okay.
I really want players to kind of, and I mean, even since launching this, I've been seeing people like meeting up and like sharing, you know, hey, you know, let's do this, let's become an Aerodome team. It'd be really cool. It's cool. I think it's really cool prize or tier in general, just because like uh, unique. It's putting yourself kind of into the lore almost, and it's like a cool like kind of thing to have even after the campaign's done. So
Yeah, very unique. I love it.
yeah, I love it. Yeah, so right now we have the lieutenant tier, which is like your baseline tier. If you already backed the first campaign, this is kind of like the easiest tier to get into. It'll get you both the packs. Plus, it doesn't show it there, but like there's a metal card that I'm doing um, for everyone who backs the campaign. There might be some other surprises for you as well. And then Ensign is essentially the same thing, but it also includes the core set and the map we're doing for this campaign, which is another version of the mountains. And this one comes like pre-built with the token placement. Um, another thing I learned. And then yeah, the captain tier is kind of like our deluxe tier that we have. Comes with the mat, the two expansions. It comes with 4 acrylic fighter markers for the 4 new ships. That metal card is actually seen there too for Balmain. He's one of the frozen pilots. And then a pack of 32 cards that are actually named after you. So I'm letting people choose a pilot, or just I'll do a random one if they don't care. Um, and then I will replace that pilot's name with your name and your own call sign, and then have their name on there still too. But like now you can bring this to tournaments and just like this cool thing to have. It's neat, you're playing as you. And then since there's 32 of them on the back of the card too, is like this cool like little medal that my idea is you lose a game to somebody, you give them one of your cards. And on the back it just says like you defeated, in this case Wade Bichet, um, Frostbite. I can't remember what call sign I go by anymore, but like yeah, so like that's like another element of like this kind of like how many of these could you get, kind of thing, and like just trying to do kind of more of that kind of customization for people as well. And that one's been probably our most popular. I think it is our most popular tier by a long shot. Um, yeah, and then we have the next 2 tiers are the 2 team tiers. So this essentially gets you 4 sets of that captain tier on both of them, plus the organized play kit with a custom logo. With the Premier Squadron including 4 customized jerseys as well. We have a jersey vendor we're working with to do those things for us, and then also it comes with an additional custom OP team OP kit, which will come with like some mats and some tokens and like some metal tokens and then some cards as well.
That's awesome, dude. You tell me about jerseys.
Yeah,
That's super
sorry. Honestly, I've been working on jerseys a lot. Like I said, I guess it's a good time as any. So those aren't even the official jerseys for the Wasps. Those were just kind of some quick ones I threw together for this graphic to kind of just showcase. Yeah, there's 4 jerseys. But we are working on a team store for the 3 teams that I've invented so far: the Chicago Apex from Adepticon, Indianapolis Wasps for Gen Con, and then the Minnesota Frost for my hometown. And we'll have teams for jerseys for those 3, plus a generic Aerodome jersey. We're hoping to have that store launch probably within the week, if I'm being honest.
Nice.
But then, like I said, like this will, if you do one of these tiers, this will open up the opportunity for us to also do more teams, right? Like more teams added to the pool for people to kind of like associate themselves with and brand themselves with and like team up with and stuff like that. Which is something I've always, I just love. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I think what else I want to? I'll get to Gen Con a little bit. But yeah, and then I think if you keep going, you can actually see, yeah. So all the stretch goals and stuff like that. Like GameCon is kind of cool because like it just shows you stretch goals right away. And Kickstarter, they're usually all hidden. But this one, yeah. So I want to do a stretch goal for every $1,000 that we raise. For the first like 25,000 to see, kind of like how much people want to support. I kind of like the idea of, we're almost there, keep sharing, keep sharing. We'll get more stuff that way. And like a lot of these are foil cards, which unfortunately aren't cheap, but pretty cool. And then I guess right here you can see actually. So you guys all know Zach Matthews. I'm working on a card in honor of Zach Matthews, called Zach Mayhew or the Zach Mayhews, which is the first time I'm really talking about it too, which is kind of weird to think about, but like I wanted to. I mean, for me, he was definitely like probably one of those people that you could go to any convention and just know he was there, and I miss him a lot. So
That's a great way to
yeah,
honor him with it.
I wanted
I
to.
like these.
I really, huh?
I said I like these foil cards.
Yeah, we did. These were part of the deluxe in the last edition, but they were honestly kind of expensive. They really pushed the deluxe kind of over the top. But yeah, they turn out pretty cool. So essentially, the white for the most part there is a spot foiling that we do. I don't do it. It's done elsewhere. But yeah, the first time I saw them, I openly weeped. I think they were beautiful, and I keep doing them. And I thought this would be a kind of a cool way to do it. Oh, the bracket challenge poster is also something I'm kind of excited about. Essentially, that is it's a 31 game campaign, essentially for like you and an opponent or you and a friend to kind of go through. So there's 32 pilots to start, and you can play your way all the way through them all. Which is like another cool way to kind of engage yourself into like this is essentially what an Aerodome is. I had fun coming up. I think each of the first games there has like a different unique name. Including I think the return of Jax is like one of them or something because Jax will have a new pilot in the upcoming set, or like the Rumble and the Jump, like those kind of like weird names like stuff like that. And this I actually will be making available. Like if we don't hit the stretch, even if we do hit the stretch goal, I'll make it available as a PDF, just to share. Like I think it's like on the back will be like another cool poster from the first one, but I want people to, play this kind of mode, I guess, as a long-term campaign. And yeah, some other ideas, yeah. So like there's some tokens and some other small things I'm kind of throwing. Stretch goals are pretty hard for. They're easy for like the bigger companies to do, if I'm being honest, because they don't need the money. But for like little guys, like if you're in games like me, stretch goals are really just kind of there to kind of like keep building excitement, and like trying to reward people for backing when they didn't have to. And then yeah, so lastly we have Super Dice Battle, which is my second game. I'm trying to not crowdfund it, if I'm being honest. I don't want to. It's like it's going to be less than $25 game. I don't think it will. It could do well, but it's not a game I really want to crowdfund. I'd rather people just have it. Um, so we're working on having that in here as well. It's my for those who don't know, it's like my take on Super Smash Bros. Essentially, it's a real time dice rolling combo game. So I really want to encapsulate kind of the sweatiness that you kind of get from playing Super Smash Bros. I was describing this earlier with somebody. Is like a lot of the games I want to start making now are kind of based on video games, where in which I want to recreate the feeling you get when you're playing those games. And like you could do it like theme wise, but what I really want is I want to find a way to get you like a game like this. I want you to get you sweaty, and I want to find a way where in which you're playing like this, and then all of a sudden you're leaning forward. It's kind of like the immersiveness I'm trying to go for. I think with some of these games, so definitely Super Dice Battle is like one of those games where like yeah you can roll as fast as you want, but you got to roll as fast as you can if you want to win. So like you could kind of take it kind of the casual way, and then you start noticing you're getting hit a lot, and it's like all right, lean forward. But that game is honestly it's pretty much done. I plan on releasing it one way or another, but before the end of the year. Um, this was just kind of like if we reach I think it's a 40,000 goal, it would provide enough funding for that as well. Um, so I thought I thought I would throw it in. So.
Fantastic. Uh, that is a lot, so much
Yeah.
available through this game found. Not as familiar with it than some of the other kind of crowdfunding sites, but I'm glad to see that people are adapting over to it, checking it out, and helping this season 2 be successful.
Yeah, actually, real quick, if you want to go down to scroll down just a little bit, you'll see updates, I think, in the middle of the screen there. So we just actually posted the first update today, and it's actually for an organized play kit or sword championship kit. Yeah, go ahead and click it. Hopefully, it would be set. Okay. Yeah, so like this is like some of the stuff that we're doing. Just token sets for the top of camel, as well as metal markers, and then yeah, so OP cards, because people do like those cards. And I always wanted to put art on the cards, and I think obviously organized play is the perfect opportunity to do it, because you can kind of do it at a pace that's more fitting. When you have to do art for 180 cards, it's a lot of art, but like here it's much more manageable. We plan on doing essentially one of these store champ kits like this, just releasing it on the web store for people to buy, essentially once every 3 months or every 4 months. Each time a different pilot, new cards. We'll keep the old ones in stock as well. It's pretty easy. So yeah, there's like a little thing like that. We plan on doing tournament rules soon. As I was talking about teams, um, like we have a team store going up later this week, if not early next week, which I'll make a post about to kind of buy some new, jerseys and stuff like that, as well as like releasing tournament rules by the end of August. So
Man, I can't get over these cards.
yeah,
You're
those
right.
are
It does make the regular cards look pretty boring. These look amazing.
well, yeah, it's easy when you put on a cool looking fighter getting shot at. It's pretty easy to make it look interesting. And these are done by I'm gonna butcher his name, but Dranis Art or Frank. Sorry, I never had to say his name out loud. But A lot of X-Wing players will recognize him because he's been doing stuff for, I think, you guys as well as Fly Better for years, honestly. So, um, and yeah, so he reached out. Well, we communicated, and we wanted to do more. I actually have a lot more pieces from him too that we'll be kind of releasing over the next few months. But yeah, it's been kind of exciting to get art for stuff. And yeah, start showcasing kind of like how cool some of these fighters do look. So, because most of them are custom designed from myself, and then Connor Duggan, who I met recently, and we've been talking about doing stuff like this more and more, and doing more and more weird looking ships. He's also been working on I know miniatures is something people ask for a lot, and we are working on miniatures. I'm actually hoping to release something by the end of the campaign about it. Hopefully sooner than that. Hopefully really soon. But yeah, so we're going to have some miniatures probably within that, as well as just in general, because I love miniatures. Aerodome was supposed to come with miniatures. Honestly, I didn't because it just adds a lot of time and cost. And to a guy doing his first project, I was like, if we're gonna do it, we should do it right. So let's hold off on it and kind of focus on the game. Make sure that that's good.
Sure.
But yeah, keep an eye out for a miniature. We're doing the D22 Maverick, which is the cover model, or the Corset cover. I guess you can see it, behind me, kind of just that cover model of the. I always call it. That's not it, but like.
That's not it.
No, it's okay. It's like the I don't even know where you're gonna find it on the game on the new game con, but
We're gonna find it in a box. On my box.
yeah. What's on your box? You got your box?
What?
I got it.
Oh, it's right here.
This guy. Right.
That is the box.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're working on a miniature for the D22 Maverick first. We are going to be working on all of them. It's just time and money at this point, but yeah, stay tuned for that. Be happy to share it with you guys. I think I plan on just releasing the STL file for free, and then we will be working on coming up with higher quality resin prints for purchase as well. So
That's awesome. Bunch of exciting stuff coming then.
yeah.
What's the date? It says 35 days left for the funding. So what's the final date for that?
I'd say it's August 6th. I might be talking on my butt, but
So, I mean, it sounds right.
I wanted it to be live during Gen Con, because like at Gen Con we'll be talking about it and showing off. I mean, I will have the mat. I will have some other items there. We might even have the miniature there. We'll see what happens. But yeah, like I wanted it to be there. I mean, I could have done late pledges there too, I guess, but just like it's Gen Con. Honestly, like from my side, Gen Con is just like a marketing expense.
Sure.
It's a great one to have. I love it. It's a lot of fun. I mean, if I could give anybody, like I mentioned, or like anybody an idea, it would be like, hey, find a way to make your own game and go to Gen Con, because like it's kind of cool experience to see people just like last year we were selling Aerodome like as a pre-sale, or like we had a few copies there, and like the first person Thursday morning like ran up to our booth. I never met her. I don't know who she is. Like I don't talk to her since. Like I didn't know who this person was, but they wanted Aerodome, and I was like, I don't know who you are or how you found out about us, because like we're pretty small. So thank you. I don't know if you know how much this is to me. This is my first, the first copy I sold. But yeah, like Gen Con's a lot of fun. I plan on doing more shows next year. This year I had to kind of cut back just because of some personal stuff. But next year I'd like to be at Nova. I'd like to be at Gen Con again for sure, and I'd like to hit the West Coast somehow. Probably PAX or something like that, and hopefully in the future years too. I mean, I'm working on. I think last time we talked, I was showing some games I was working on. I'm working on more games already. All of them a little easier to design than Aerodome. Aerodome really took some time. But yeah.
That's awesome. Well, hopefully we'll see you at those conventions. Come check out. I assume you got a booth at Gen Con?
Yep. So our booth at Gen Con is 560. So that's essentially like the fifth row. Pretty good spot. Like last year, we were off kind of way into the corner. I don't know who was there remembers, but yeah, we were kind of tucked away last year. So this year, we're kind of not necessarily front and center, but definitely, up there, which is going to be really fun. We'll have Super Dice there. We'll have Aerodome there. We also have tournaments there. We have 3 tournaments on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at 2 p.m. each day. I think the cost is $14. One of those tournaments, unfortunately, like I got to talk to them because like they put all the tournaments in different spots, which is never great. But one of them is currently being played in the stadium, and I'm like, that is great. I'm like that's kind of cool. I've been at Gen Con like 12 years. I've yet to be in that stadium, so
What?
I'm kind of excited. Yeah, why?
Well, they normally have just like the free play library. At least when I was there, you just go and play
Yeah,
like random games in the stadium.
yeah, and I was working like I don't know if you know this, but OP for Gen Con was 7 in the morning to 10 at night most nights. So long days.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
I guess you guys probably know you were recording.
I was there.
Yeah, you remember. If you have time to go anywhere else.
Lunch
But yeah,
breaks. Lunch breaks were spent sprinting to the floor to go check out booths.
we have. I'll be giving away 2 cards, both in the event and also at our booth for each purchase. One of them is a Freeze Ray FAQ'd card. So we did an FAQ about a month or 2 ago. Freeze Ray in the core set, honestly, is like a bad misprint on my end. But we FAQ'd it and errated it, and I'm just giving it away wherever I see people. I'll find as many ways as I can to give it away. But that also features another piece by Trying to Start. And then also Sven Bergman, an ace pilot from the core set. He's the yellow pilot, the yellow biplane pilot. His whole fluff is he's actually a race car driver, and Indianapolis Wasps was named after the first race car to win the Indianapolis 500. I like finding like random little facts like that and basing a team around them because I think it's kind of like a fun way to tie it to the city more. Yeah, so we're doing Sven Bergman. I think I posted a photo of it on our Discord, but I'll probably be posting about it soon as well. So thank you.
That's fantastic. Other than GameFound, where can people find out more information about Aerodome and all the other games you're making?
So aerodomegame.com is still the best way to get, to Aerodome, to find Aerodome for sale and stuff like that. We actually did also just team up with Flat River Group. They are essentially a type of consolidator, so they'll be selling to distributors, and I just delivered a lot of stuff to them. So hopefully you can start seeing Aerodome in your stores, your friendly local game stores, which is huge. Honestly, I think it will help. If you already play Aerodome or not, just go to your store and be like, hey, check out this game. I want people to play it in the area. I want to play it with other people. Let's could you get a couple copies to put on your shelf? But yeah, and then other games, we're working on a new website for Ethereum games to kind of encapsulate the rest of my projects. And yeah, aerodomegame.com to answer your question.
That's fantastic. Always exciting to hear about the future of the game. Happy to see that it's expanding, multiplying exponentially. It seems like I can't even imagine all those pilot cards, the combinations that people are going to be able to use in their decks now.
Yeah, definitely love that aspect. I mean, deck building in this is kind of unique. Or maneuver hand building, I guess. and very different. And I think it's kind of fun to see. I mean, we did a couple tournaments at AdeptCon with like 30 plus people, and none of them really had players using the same hands, and that was with a limited pool of just the core set. So, um, yeah, and then yeah, we're always coming up with new expansion ideas too. I think I don't think I'm already working on it. The next project I'm working on for Aerodome is actually going to be a co-op box. Essentially the volume 3 of Rising Rise. So the last part of season 1 of Aerodome will be this co-op box, and I'm excited to share more info about that soon.
All right. Well, fantastic. If there's anything else, Wade, we can let you go. Get you to bed here. We're going to be building some X-Wing lists. But again, it was great having you. Excited to look forward to the future Aerodome.
Thank you very much, guys, for having me. As always, it's great to see you guys. I mean, unfortunately, won't see you guys. Well, see Ryan, I think, at Gen Con.
Yes,
Yeah.
I will be at Gen Con.
But James, I don't know, are you going?
I will not be. We're doing the Salt Lake Open that weekend.
All right. Yeah, well, I wish you guys luck there. I'm sure we'll see each other again soon. I got to come down to Chicago because there's a few things I want to talk to you guys about too. So,
All right.
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
sounds
Dion,
good.
like Dion and I were talking, and I was like, all right, let's maybe we should talk.
Dion's always talking.
Yeah,
He's always got
well,
something,
it was
he's
supposed
always
to be
got something
talking
brewing.
really, but and it was really just like I got an idea, and I want you to hear it. So I'll come on down soon. And we'll hang out.
Fantastic, Wade.
Cool. Well, thanks, guys.
All right.
Thank you very
See
much,
you.
Wade. Good to talk to you.
Now I gotta figure out.
Get out of here.
Get on.
Oh, there you go. All right. Well, that was fantastic. Love, again, hearing about that Aerodome. I just don't get to play it enough. Let me tell you. I had so much fun at every event I go for it. But we got a little bit of time here. Well, actually, we got plenty of time, to be honest with you. So do we want to save it?
I was
Did we
saying
dive
when we
into
hit the XTC stuff first, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see how that far that
And-
takes us.
and-
Yeah, I was gonna
and
say
the-
that's more
And
timely.
the sector series starting today.
Yeah, James, why don't you go over that?
Yeah, why don't we start with that? Let me get to a fourth person in this.
Will is trying to skip all of our.
I just want to build
less
this.
cool, less cool stuff than Aerodome and building ridiculous lists. But yeah, Sector Series started up today. We had a pretty good turnout for most of the sectors. All but Sector 2, we were able to get enough players for Swiss. But Sector 2 had a perfect round robin numbers, so I'm honestly not even mad about it. Because I love a good round robin event. If you have not done that before, where you just play each player in the event.
What time bracket is Sector 2?
Sector 2 is the 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock UTC. So that's midnight to 4 a.m., I believe.
Yeah, that's overnight for us here in the East and Central time zones.
Chicago, yeah, Chicago. It's Chicagoland midnight to 4 a.m., I think. So, a difficult time for most people in the U.S. So I understand, and there's not a lot of people that are like in that time zone where it like fits in perfectly. So I absolutely understand.
Oceans. There's oceans.
Yeah, you know what? You know what's over there? Oceans. So I completely get it. There's just not a lot of like good space. Like Australia. I guess it is like the Australia sector where it's like 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. For Australia. So I guess
so.
that sort of fits in, but still.
Still fantastic that we still got a running for them. The top 4 of each sector is making it on to the top 16 after 5 weeks of competition. So
let
we'll
me
be
just
following pretty
quick
closely.
math real quick. 36 plus 4 plus 15 plus
Gear the 2.
53. 108 players. So pretty good turnout. I think pretty similar to what we had last year.
That's fantastic.
So very happy with it. And today is day 1, and we already have one result in. So
Oh, who won?
off to the races.
Who's our first winner of the Sector Series?
Who is our first winner?
Give him a shout out.
Sector 4, I believe it was. Arcadius Franks. I butchered that. Butchered it.
There you go.
But
I already had the win. First win of the whole event.
Archer is otherwise known as. So, congrats. But it'll be a five weeks of the sector stage, and then most likely a break, and then we'll get right into the top 16, where the top 4 of each sector battle it out.
I'm glad a lot of people were able to sign up. I know the time format is favored by a lot, especially if you got very unique times. You need to get your games in each week for whatever scheduling you may have going on. So it's fantastic that we're seeing so much response from it. Makes us very proud that you guys want to join in with it. But we'll be keeping track of it all series, I guess, would be the name of it. I guess the series is all of the sectors, or is it all of the games? I've never really dissected what the series is.
It's not that kind of movie. You just don't think about it, I guess.
Moving on.
Moving on.
Yeah, very exciting. Next topic, indeed. We have been the XTC council. They have a trio council, and the captains from the previous years have finalized voting on all of the XTC. Well, at least as far as it pertains to me. So, with all of that, dates and information being finalized, me, as last year's team captain of the XTC, which is the X-Wing Team Championships, traditionally now only played on the Tabletop Simulator. There's an in-person event called the WTC, the World Team Champions, which is affiliated but not the same capacity. But so the online is trying to expand. They actually went up from 5 players to 7. We're going to be playing all 7 factions this year in an we call it league style. I'm not really sure. Ryan, is there a better way to describe when you just play one game per week?
I would say that's close to league style, yeah. I mean, you're in a pod of you're in a team, and you're facing off each week against a different team, each individually paired off in your pod or whatever before we get to the finals or the qualified section. I guess league is the closest, because I think most people associate league with like weekly, basically league night, right? Weekly thing, or league play online, weekly play type of thing. So yeah.
The opposite of doing the whole event in a single day. It's really spread out amongst the different weeks. So with that, getting that last bit of information put down, I've begun the stressful beginnings of recruiting for it. Last year, again, I was the captain, but I didn't end up playing for The event ended up actually I streamed it because I was trying to stay awake all night for it anyways, because normally the finals had been previously overnight, but they've actually changed now. I have some information here. I'll throw it in the Twitch chat here. The link, the view form, I'm going to put it in the description of this YouTube video as well. Hopefully this can get passed around. Got about 2 weeks or so to formulate teams, but let's go ahead and take a look at some information you see on the sign up. Very, very simple. Just explains the intent of the form. Basically, sign up, explaining, like I said, myself, captain of Team USA, our coach from last year, Kenneth Lyons as well. Real dynamic duo here. But last year we didn't even play. We just help organize the players and substitutes, getting matchings and stuff like that. If you've never been involved in a team event, there's so much work, so much preparation that needs to go in so you can be cohesive. Last year, Team USA did pull off the victory. I think we lost a game. Did we lose 2 games? No, I think we only lost to Canada.
Oh.
Did we only lose to Canada?
It was impressive. I was honestly just like, wow. I think.
I think we lost to France, maybe. I forget now. It was a blur. It was 2 nights of wild parties overnight. We won't have that this year. This year it will be
in person.
Played. No, it will be played. It's one of the final lines, but it will be played over a few weeks following the group stage. So similar to the group stage at that league style, but sped up a little bit to try to get it done in a timely fashion. Anyways, like I said, me and Kenneth, we haven't played in the past. Doesn't mean that we're not the people for the job this year, as we'll most likely be participating in the combine, but only if there's spots available. Right now, we're looking at essentially like 4 to 7 teams of 7 players. Again, we got to have one for each faction, which is very important. Not a lot of competitive players have been looking at Scum, looking at Separatist as that way to win an individual tournament. But because we're required to bring them, we do need them represented and a player dedicated in those particular factions. So those are actually very, very important. I made a shout out to those 2 factions in particular. Then I'll see what else do I have here. Of course, just signing up doesn't guarantee a spot. It does get you in our private Discord for the combines. Great way to communicate, meet new players, pass around ideas, even outside of the XTC. We're only going to be playing 3 rounds for the combine, just enough to get a lot of data about your play type, your styles, how your list matchups into other lists and things like that. A lot of information to take down to be successful. Of course, like I said, we did very well last year. The chances of a repeat success very low, but of course we want to do the best we can.
Oh, come on. Chances to repeat are 100%.
Man, it's a little bit of luck, as like anything. So, but like I said, I would strive for that same level of success, defend our title as best we can. So we are looking for the whole kind of combine and application process again was started because we were a very tight-knit group of players for a couple years, but we really wanted to expand that. Very similar to the X-Wing Alliance, whereas we're trying to set up something to preserve and move the Team USA beyond just an individual, myself or Kenneth or whoever of the alumni, to move it into something that can exist through the community and not just, like I said, through me or anybody else who had played in it previously. And I think that has actually generated motivation to get involved and show that you want to spot on the team and can make that effort, which is exactly what we are trying to cultivate. This we're competitive, that we want to play the game, but not against necessarily each other. Anyways, let's see. As far as dates, it's like quick turnaround on it. That we're only going to have 2 weeks for signups, and then get right into the 3 weeks of rounds. So that's July 15th. Is when it's going to start, and then it'll end August 4th. Then I think I only gave ourselves 1 week to get back and lock down those new team members, because the XTC needs our lists in about mid-August. They need to be able to review them. They need a week or two to lock those in, make sure everything's okay, because the group stage starts Monday, September 2nd. So it's all actually happening pretty quick, but like I said, this is not something that is new. Very easy to run this kind of combine stock, especially because there's only going to be 3 rounds, so not a lot to keep track of. But you're going to be placed in a big team, though, 7 players per team, because we want to emulate as close to the XTC style as possible. Last year, I think we only did like teams of 3, just to get like a lot of matches in, if that makes sense. But I was not the right decision. Got to emulate it exactly as possible so we can collect correct data. So which is why we're going to 7 teams. And then, of course, some information about XTC. That's going to just be 1 game per week, because like I said, that league style. Then the XTC finals is a little bit more sped up than that. Even put in a link to the XTC.space, so you can find extra rules if you're not as familiar with it, or how the pairing process exactly works. You can find out information on right through their website. So very exciting. Hopefully this gets passed around. Like I said, I would like to start organizing teams, and they can start organizing factions and stuff. Especially if my fear is that there could be a lack of, say, for example, people who want to play Scum, or people who think that Scum is their best faction. So if they don't play their best faction, they're not going to get in. Kind of things like that, right? So, yeah, very exciting stuff. I want, again, to be successful. It took a lot of us. We were the largest team. Most countries and teams didn't have the luxury of non-playing participants like me and Kenny. So hopefully we can help our players in the best way possible. Like I said, we do it all through our Discord. So as long as you got Discord, familiar with TTS, and an ambition to be successful, contribute to the team, that's all it really takes. Most of these questions are just information about yourself, what faction you like to play, and then if you want to add more detail, you certainly can. Oh, I'm scrolling the wrong one. There it goes. Now you can see. just little bits of information. Like I said, you can throw in more details if you want to, about how you train and your thoughts on the team events and things like that. Anything else you want to add into that application. But that is pretty much it for the combines. very successful last year, like I said, so hopefully we can continue that on. Maybe what should I name the 4 teams to be exciting? You guys got an opinion on that? Should we just start naming them the most American stuff, like apple pie and bald eagle?
Name them after like presidents. Like
okay,
Team Washington, Team Lincoln.
Only the good presidents, though.
Yeah, Team Washington, Team Lincoln, right? You know,
Fair. That makes sense. James, sorry, you were saying.
It's only going to be 4 teams for the combine.
Divisible by 7. So, I'm going to try to be able to accommodate up to 49 players. So 7 total teams of 7 players. If people want to sign up, I want to accommodate them. There was a lot of, maybe not a lot. There was newer players, some underdogs that came out of the combine last year that really proved themselves in XTC. So I don't think it's I don't want it to be just like a popularity contest, right? Like, oh, we know, Nathan 90 or whatever. I'm gonna get him. He's the best player. He's always been the best player, so obviously he's on the team. It's not exactly the case, but it does require a lot of time, a lot of dedication. So as long as you are up for that, it's a great time. I mean, it's really been humbling, to be honest with you, to have such a tight group of players representing the United States. So hopefully we can keep that tradition alive and proud. But like I said, I'll put the link in. James, you ever figure out how to do the audio things? The audio descriptions, the podcast audio descriptions? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Describing what?
The podcast. The one they're listening to right now. On the little like Podbeans or whatever, the Apple iTunes store. You know?
Yeah, it's all done. You want me to put them in the notes?
Yeah, put them in the notes.
Oh, yeah.
Put a little link for me in the notes there so people can click right on it and get it into.
I was like, what? The audio descriptors.
We got there. So yeah, very exciting stuff. Still happening in X-Wing. I know it's been a bummer. The recent news or whatever, but I mean, I feel like X-Wing has been in full swing and doesn't seem to be stopping anytime soon. New events, new leagues, in-person events, like I said, like that Lone Star in Salt Lake, Nova, Gen Con, right? So, very exciting stuff. Ryan, are we good there? Should we just save our pilots for next week?
Yeah, we'll say that for another time. We already on the later end anyway because we started later.
Yeah, that's fair. You know what we'll do? We'll post it out in our taking suggestions or whatever. I forget what that Discord part is. But maybe we'll get some suggestions for extended pilots we should be looking at now that maybe some players are free from standard tournaments, except for maybe the grand tournaments. That we, take a second look at extended pilots. So if you do got a favorite one, comment it down below. Let us know on the Discord. And of course, check out the Patreon, patreon.com/Gold Squadron. Give us some support, be able to get to these different events. I'm in stream. Very excited to go out to Salt Lake. It was beautiful last time I was there, though that was what? February? August? No. February. January? I don't know why I said August. January? Wasn't it January when we went to Las Vegas?
January, yeah.
Well, it was confusing because there was no snow on the ground in Salt Lake, and there certainly wasn't any snow on the ground. in Las Vegas.
Yeah. We got all of our winter out of the way in December. It was miserable.
Well, there you go. I'm excited. Maybe we'll go. Should we go skiing? They still got ski things open?
No. It is warm. It was like 95. I went swimming yesterday. That's how warm it was.
Oh, well, they're like on the top of the mountains, so right.
No,
I'm sure people are skiing.
Fun.
All right. Well, either way, I'm excited. Yeah. Looking forward to more topics in the future. If you got us a topic, something you want to hear us talk about, certainly let us know. As Nutano put it, a lot of people coming back. They saw that what I call it, the death of X-Wing. A little dramatic, Will, on your YouTube titles. But I'm glad to see that revitalized some people. Some people are like, oh man, what are those people doing in X-Wing again? So it's fantastic to see that. Despite losing official support, the community is always going to be there for X-Wing. So it really warms my heart, let me tell you. But I think with that, like I said, I'll post those questions, and we'll be back next podcast. Then check out Wednesdays with me and James. We're going to be playing some games, trying to watch some Extra Series games, getting some practice games of our own. Maybe we'll do some more Jank Tank random squads. Maybe you get stuck with a K-Wing. K-Wing did not work out good.
K-Wing and a generic.
The road, yeah. You got a Z. The Bandit Squadron.
Oh, the Bandit.
Never did shoot his ion missile. Poor guy.
Yeah. Can we just re-roll no generics? Is that that?
What? No. This is the game that we said no other 3-point can shoot an ion missile. Ryan, name me a 2-point ship that can shoot an ion missile.
The Hayarchal prototype. It's a standard loadout.
A 2-point ship. Oh, the whole tower?
Yeah, Hayarchal Vulture. Siege of Coruscant. Has ion missile on it. Look it up.
Okay, well, I think we can agree that the strutless Vulture not as good as the 2-shield Z, right? Come on.
Oh, sure, but you asked for it. I gave you an answer.
I'm nervous that he knew it so quickly.
I read too much. 2, I look at Separatists too much, and that's like the one ship I've looked at maybe because it's too pipped and because it's a standardized loadout and it doesn't have grapple struts. It doesn't really have a good way to get a lock for that ion. Otherwise, it's really super niche ability. Maybe these guys can be 1 point.
I mean,
what would happen?
Yeah, I'm down for 1 point.
Why?
Siege of Coruscant. Horrors.
Let me throw it out to you. What if everybody else just got more expensive?
That's true.
Also an option, but doesn't mean it can't go down to 1 point still.
I mean, I believe you. The whole maybe the average should be back to closer to 4 shouldn't apply to Separatist, right?
Yes,
it's the one thing that they might be good at that nobody else can do.
Uh-huh.
Might be good at. I don't know. We'll see. Exciting stuff again. So for hold on, you can see my reaction in real time to whatever James just sent me.
I didn't do anything.
Oh boy. That's all I gotta say about that one. Oh boy. All right. Let's get out of here.
Oh geez, Rick.
Oh geez. Let's get out of here. I had a fantastic time. Check out Aerodome Game.com and GameFound, of course, as well, for the latest in Aerodome. Always excited to have Wade. Can't wait to see what he's cooking up for next season. Till then, stay safe, stay smart. Gold Squadron out.
Thank you to ISO, Danko, Baffle, Trojan, Prophet, Shadow, Tycho, Spice, Raider, Lancer, Fallen, Row 6, 626, Chief, and J List, our Grand Admiral patrons. And all of our Gold Squadron patrons and community members, thank you for your support. Gold Squadron out.